the paintings in this body of work are grounded in the Australian landscape. And I guess there's two thematics that I've been following through that have been a consistent for many years. It's where I live locally, and particularly my relationship with Swan Bay, an extraordinarily beautiful, subtle, gentle mistress of mine that I keep going back to and looking for ways to a visual language, another language to represent that, I suppose. I think with Swan Bay, it's about space, it's about subtlety, it's about just this almost aching beauty of Swan Bay that I'm drawn to all the time. But there's also a kind of a truth in it. It's intangible, but it's there. You know, it's there. There's something about it that I'm just drawn to constantly. And as for the works that would maybe be called landscape works, there's something. I spent a lot of time in the Little Desert, Lake Mungo, Larapinta, the Flinders Ranges. They keep going back to these places, and they speak to me of something that's true and grounded and real. And it's like working in the garden with your hands. It's like getting your fingernails covered in dirt under your nails. There's some semblance of truth that can't be denied about these places, and they're also extraordinarily beautiful too. And again, the challenge with this body of work is to continue to push myself to find new ways of representing these landscapes, these images, really. I guess when I'm out in the bush, I'll often do things that will shake up my perception of things. So the common thing I might do is just eat goji berries for 3 or 4 days while I'm working, or just drink a particular sort of herbal tea, or the last time most recently in the Little Desert I was detoxing on this weird liquid stuff and just eating spinach for 4 days. And it changes your perception of things. Sometimes there's a sharpness and intensity. I know it sounds weird to do these things, but it takes you out of yourself, really, and you start to see things in a different way than you would otherwise see them. And it helps those sort of, they're not extreme behaviours, but they're behaviours that just shake up your perception. Like I might try and deprive myself from sleep or food, or dare I say excessive alcohol, or those things help. I guess the other thing that I'm extremely drawn to is colour, really. These earthy colours, or the blues of Swan Bay, or the sky and the openness of these landscapes. They hit your eye, and your retina they sort of just a direct vault to your central nervous system in some respects, and sometimes you don't quite even know what the painting is about. It's hard to get a sense. It might be of the landscape, it might not be of a particular place, but it's of the Australian landscape or a body of water in and around Australia. But the thing that really often hits you most of all is the colour initially, and then your eyes sort of soften and travel around the image, and it takes you on a journey. I guess the other thing with that is that my work is not, I wouldn't call it abstract, but it's not representative in a cliched sort of way. So you can look at a painting of mine and hopefully be able to go back to it endlessly and keep seeing other things in the picture. So I guess I'm encouraging people looking at my work to use their imagination. And lots of people interpret many different things from my work, and and I'm very excited by that. And I suppose just one other thing is that beauty is it's not overly popular in academic art circles, but beauty is something that it's hard not to represent beauty of these places that I spend time in. They're just beautiful. They're quiet. They have space around them. They have interest. They have subtlety and nuance. But I keep coming back to just the sheer aesthetic pleasure of the work itself, really. The COVID-19 virus, it's very sadly devouring the world. And it relates to probably homeless people and elderly people who I think are particularly at risk. And in some ways it seems rather trite to be talking about art. I'm not quite sure how all that fits in, but I guess all I suppose I wanted to say, if you do live somewhere and you have elderly people in your area, it's important, I guess, that you keep an eye on them. Make sure you engage with them appropriately and look out for them. And the same I would say for anyone that's homeless. I'd suggest they're particularly at risk. And try and convert your interactions with people who are homeless or elderly in a positive and practical way. So whether it's just spending some time checking in with them and seeing how they're going, where they're sleeping, how they're travelling, maybe buying them a coffee or some food, but just acknowledging so that they also feel connected, I guess, is really, really important at this time in particular.